Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Sioux Falls Health Connection. I'm Dr. Joe Moen with Origin Health Chiropractic and Wellness, and today I'm excited to bring you Lindsey Baker of Rooted Nutrition Therapies. And I wanted to bring her in to talk on a tough subject nowadays, but I think more prevalent than ever, and that's mental health. And in this interview, we talk about the traps that you can fall into a bad mind space, and then things we can do on our own, at our own homes, on our own time to help create a better mental space for ourselves so that we can be better husbands and wives, mothers, fathers, brothers and sisters, and just good neighbors and citizens. A lot of stuff to take home with this one. We hope you like it. If you do like it, please share. We're trying to reach as many people as we can with this. If you get some value, if you know somebody who might get some value from this, please share it with them. Like and post as much as you can. We would sure appreciate it. Thanks guys, enjoy. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Sioux Falls Health Connection. I am excited to bring you Lindsey Baker with Rooted Nutrition Therapies today. Welcome to Origin Health.
Hi, thanks.
It's fun to have you here during crazy, weird, strange times. But I'm glad you're here with your background and everything and able to drop some knowledge on us today.
Yeah.
So could you just kind of give us where you've been, what got you into this type of field, and where you plan to go with it?
Sure. It's a loaded question.
Yeah, it is a little bit, but that's okay.
I'm a registered dietitian.
Okay.
Studied that several years ago.
Okay. We don't have to give numbers.
Yeah, there we go. Married into the military, so my husband and I literally traveled the world. Along the way, I got a master's in health education, worked for the Health and Wellness Center overseas at the Air Force Base, as well as Women, Infant, and Children, so WIC, giving nutrition, education, and supplement to families that fall within the financial brackets. Let's see, and then moved from Europe to Asia, started a family, got back to the States, and really felt a call to pursue counseling. Didn't know how it would all come into play, counseling with dietetics, but took it slow, because again, I was raising two small children and I was a military spouse, so took it slow, and graduated just a year ago with a master's in counseling.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So kind of a broad range of wellness, nutrition, counseling. I think you had mentioned before we started this, you're just basically a lifelong learner.
Correct.
Just one thing to the next.
And life experience.
And life experience.
As well, right.
But one of the reasons I want to have you on, especially with Rooted Nutrition Therapies coming about this year, is there's a lot of social isolation going on right now.
Right.
And that's hard for people mentally, physically, and I want to talk to you about the whole mental side of it.
Right.
Because you have all that background in wellness and nutrition, and then that therapy portion as well. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a dangerous combination in a good way, of course.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Having that background. So let's go into nowadays when we're all stuck in our homes and that kind of stuff. What are some traps that we can fall into that, they aren't quite obvious until we're in that hole? And I think about that a lot, at least with my experience with the depression, is you don't notice that you keep digging the hole until all of a sudden you look up and like, oh man, what happened? Yeah. So what are some traps from your point of view and your education and your background that people can fall into where they can get into that situation?
Well, I think, everybody's schedules have been upended, regardless of if people are working more hours or hours have been cut. Schools are closed, so now you've got kids in the home. Everybody's routine and rhythm has been upended. So this is a season of new normal. Yeah. What does that look like? What schedule or routine can be put in place? Maybe it's even just one day at a time that can give structure to the day, that can give purpose to the day, and that can purpose and direction.
Like a sense of direction rather than just wandering aimlessly through the next 24 hours.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be, again, for a week. Days might change. The city is doing the best they can to, help Sioux Falls stop the spread, what do they call it? Flatten the curve.
Yeah, flatten the curve.
And so, sometimes it's the daily check-in, see what's going on in the world to make wise and responsible decisions, but then being able to unplug from the news and set a schedule to give you.
Yeah, and I think especially now it's so easy to wake up, have something to eat, and then turn on the TV.
Sure.
Right? Like I don't have to be anywhere at any sort of time.
Sure.
Even with kids, like, well, they're running around doing their own thing, depending on your age, but it's so easy to lose 2 or 3 hours to start your day. And then all of a sudden you're halfway through and your energy isn't there because we haven't been doing anything, and it just tends to snowball like that.
Yeah.
And I think you hit on one thing in there is taking it one day at a time.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important, especially when we're talking about, some people are talking about weeks, other people are talking about months at this point.
Right.
That's overwhelming to me.
Right.
And we're still open, so I still have the ability to come here and get out of my house. But California just announced they're going to be stay at home until May at least. Yeah. And so for that person looking at that, well, that's it. But if you break it down into, all right, let's just get through Friday, right? And then we'll get through Friday, and then we'll get through Saturday,
right? And
then we'll get through Sunday.
Oh yeah, because today is Friday.
Today is Friday, and that's kind of hard to think about too.
Kind of lose track of time.
But some of the guys that I follow online and podcasts and things, one of them is a ex-Navy SEAL, and perhaps coming from a military family, you'd understand this. But they talk about minimizing your world. So at least that's what it is. If you're not going to eat a whole elephant all in one bite. Right. Take a small bite. All right, let's do that. Right. This guy was talking about getting through SEAL training, and that's the guys who succeed at that type of training are the guys who are able to just, all right, we're just going to get me through the next 6 hours.
And it's that resiliency. It's that ability to take it.
Yep. And I think, too, it'll help create some momentum. It's like, all right, we did it. We got through Friday.
Right. Yeah.
We had a pretty good day. I got 2 things done. Let's do it again tomorrow.
Right.
So going on from things to avoid, so now let's talk about some tactics and some things that our viewers can implement tomorrow, and they can start using to generate some momentum. Even when they're stuck in an isolated place.
Well, from a dietetic standpoint, nutrition is gonna obviously be one of my top recommendations to eat clean. It's really easy to grab all the processed foods off the shelves, especially when you're told to, have 2 weeks supply of food.
Yeah.
But time and time again, research is showing that the quality of the food we eat directly impacts the brain, which directly impacts mental and emotional well-being.
Right.
So really cleaning up the diet, which can be a foreign term, but breaking that down would look like eating whole foods, eating the rainbow, going to the store and looking at the produce and getting fruits and vegetables from different color groups. And I mean, honestly, that is one of my top recommendations, because you're going to be getting a whole array of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants within those fruits and vegetables that are going to help keep you healthy. They're going to help fuel your mind. They're going to help your body be healthy and build up your immune system. And again, produce can go bad quickly or whatnot. So, fresh is always best, but then moving to frozen, having a stock of frozen fruits and vegetables in the refrigerator, and then canned kind of being the last.
Yeah. So you're not talking about the aisles then in the grocery store.
That perimeter shopping, right?
Yeah. Real food, and that's something we harp on a lot.
Yes.
If it doesn't come out of the ground off a tree or off an animal, maybe stay away from it.
Right.
And it's a win-win, right? Because you're not only boosting your immunity and you're making your body stronger, but you're feeling better at the same time.
Right.
And so now your mind is operating on a higher click. You know,
Right.
maybe it's not, maybe you're going from 80 mile an hour to 100 miles an hour all of a sudden. And now you have the energy to go and exercise, and you have the energy to accomplish some tasks during the day, versus if you're putting all this other stuff in your body that drains you, well, then now you're fighting an uphill battle anyway. It's like, I know I need to do this, but my energy is trash, so I don't want to do it. And it's just this self-replicating cycle.
Right, absolutely. And you're setting yourself up to be able to not only acknowledge but tackle negative thought patterns.
Oh, sure.
You know, if our minds and our brains aren't operating well, it's so much easier to, you're not functioning on a cognitive level,
Right.
that you're able to identify those thoughts and stop those thoughts.
Yeah.
And
Because that takes energy too.
that takes energy. It takes energy to focus on truth, to believe truth, to foster thankfulness and gratitude, especially during a time like this. That's hard. But when we fuel ourselves, and I honestly see nutrition and good nutrition, I mean, it just goes so hand in hand with chiropractic care, because it's that realigning.
Yeah.
You know, chiropractic care realigns the spine so your body can operate at its best, at its optimal functioning.
Yeah.
And nutrition does that same thing,
Yeah.
just, you know, the biochemical level of providing your mind and your body with everything that it needs to function well.
That's amazing. Thanks for the plug too, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think I couldn't agree with you more. And I one of the things when I'm talking about nutrition with people, I always try to just try for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Eat really clean.
Yeah.
Because then they can feel the difference.
Yes.
It's one thing to read it and watch a video and listen to us harp on it. But once you take that leap and just commit for even 10 or 14 days, and then you notice how much better you feel.
It doesn't even have to be perfect.
It doesn't even have to be perfect. It could just be better.
Right.
And but if we can get people to commit to that, and then they can, feeling is believing is something that I talk about quite a bit. You can harp and preach all day, but until someone takes the leap, they don't really know what it feels like.
Experience it for themselves.
Experience it for themselves.
Yeah.
So, and I think, going back to all this stuff that we've been talking about, nutrition, movement, sleep, all these big, broad-ranging topics, it's amazing how, if you're eating better, you're going to have more energy to work out. And if you're doing some sort of movement, you're going to sleep better. And if you're sleeping better, you're going to have more energy the next day to make better choices on food and movement. And it's this, it's the whole high tide floats all boats thing. So, you had said earlier, you don't have to be perfect in any of this, right? But just doing a little bit can raise the other one just a little bit, and you start stacking the deck in your favor a little bit. Which again goes back to that creating momentum. And when you have a little bit of momentum, that can really cycle in a good way instead of a bad way where we stack days and you're like, oh, it's hard to dig yourself out. Well, just little thing, do something little. Go for a walk today for half an hour. Drink a bottle of more water and start with that. Put your phone down an hour before you go to bed, that type of thing. So I love all this. I love how it all ties together. I think there's some really good strategies in there. And again, I'm not an expert on this at all. And there's so much stuff on the internet, scheduling tactics and all that kind of stuff. But just start simple, start small. That's something we talk about at Origin a lot. Just get back to the basics, right? Just do the little things, and that will lead to the big things. So if people are struggling right now, either mentally or have a diagnosis and we're just feeling like the world's collapsing on ourselves, what can they do? Who can they reach out to at this point to kind of help ease that a little bit?
And I think that is the most important thing is to reach out. If the conversation starts with a friend, let it start there. But knowing that the mental health providers in Sioux Falls are working. They're working hard, and they're developing their practice to meet the needs of telehealth. And that they are open to new client appointments. And so reaching out to the community of counselors here in Sioux Falls is a
It's probably one of the more important things too, is just asking for the help.
Asking for help.
And that's okay.
It is.
We're not perfect, and we're never going to be perfect. And there's so many people who are willing to help, and there's people like you who have dedicated your whole life to helping people. So take advantage of it. And especially going back to the very beginning when we were talking about how this is unprecedented and we don't know what we're doing.
Right.
And so there's a little bit of grace with that too.
Right.
So, well, kind of give us a little bit of what you guys have coming, if you want to touch on your new practice and what all that's going to look like.
Absolutely, we're very excited. We are taking steps every day, every week towards launch later this year with Rooted Nutrition Therapies. It'll be myself and another registered dietitian, Becky Bell, here in town. And the practice is going to be for mental and emotional wellness. It's going to be nourishing the body for wholehearted living. We're going to bring in integrative and functional nutrition along with intentional movement and just cultivating healthy thought lives to just have, to just live out life and live it out to the best and to the fullest.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes.
We're
very excited.
We can't wait for you guys to be operational.
Yeah.
I think I've talked about this quite a bit, but I think Sioux Falls is prime for that type of practice and that type of approach anyway. The medication is important and it's very useful for people who need it, but there's all kinds of things we can do on our own. So, well, thanks for sitting down with me. This has been amazing and fun, and I hope that people can see this and get a little light on their day, and all of the crazy and the fear right now. Just knowing that you can take this into your own hands is empowering in itself. So thanks for sitting down. We appreciate it. Reach out to either of us. Lindsey will tag your email underneath the video. I know she'd be happy to help as much as we can. And us too. If you have any questions for me, her, if you just need someone to talk to. These are tough times, but we're all in it together. And it'll get better, it'll pass eventually. But love on each other as much as we can. Try to help out your neighbor. Do everything you can for your friends, and we'll be here for you as much as we can. Thanks a bunch. Bye.